You ever get that feeling that the systems of power we see today, in finance and government, are just echoes of something way, way older? That maybe there's a blueprint, a kind of playbook that's been used over and over again for thousands of years? Well, let's dive into that, because the source material we're looking at today makes a pretty fascinating case for exactly that.
And this right here, this is the core idea. It's the central thesis that, you could argue, runs through 5,000 years of history. See, real power isn't just about armies or stockpiles of gold. It's about who gets to write things down, who controls the official record of what's real and what has value. So let's just ask the question straight up. What if the game has always been the same, just with different players wearing different costumes? From ancient temple priests all the way to modern-day bankers. Is it possible there's a hidden instruction manual they've all been following? And let's be super clear here, this isn't just about dollars and cents. The argument is that it's about the very infrastructure of information, the system that tracks who owns what, who owes what, all those obligations. If you control that, well, you control everything that flows through it. So according to the source, this whole historical pattern can be broken down into 5 distinct, repeating parts. You can think of these as the universal building blocks for pretty much any system of control. So here they are, the 5 pillars that the source says are just universal. First up, you've got the ledger. That's the official system for tracking value, the master record of who owns what. Then you need the network, the channels and nodes for actually moving that value around. The gate, now this one is critical. It's what determines who gets to play in the system and who's locked out. Then there's the story. This is the powerful narrative that justifies the whole setup and gets everyone to buy into it. And finally, and this is the absolute kicker, the direction. This part defines where all that value ultimately ends up. Okay, so theory is one thing. Let's actually put this framework to the test with a couple of real-world examples from history. This is where this abstract idea really starts to snap into focus. So our first case study, the Knights Templar. Now, we usually think of them as these crusading warrior monks, right? But what they really were the architects of the first major international banking system. And when you break it down, it's kind of wild how perfectly they fit the model. Their ledger, that was the revolutionary letter of credit. Their network was this incredible chain of commanderies stretching all across Europe. The gate was their super exclusive knighthood. They were answerable only to the Pope. The story they told everyone, we're just here protecting pilgrims. And the direction, you guessed it, all the value, every fee, flowed right up to the top of the order. Okay, now let's jump forward about 750 years to a system that we all live with today, the U.S. Federal Reserve. And according to the source, the architecture is, well, it's eerily familiar. And check this out, the pattern just repeats. The ledger this time is the U.S. dollar itself. The network is the system of 12 regional reserve banks. The gate, as the source points out, was that secret meeting on Jekyll Island where a private group of bankers basically designed the whole system. The story is all that complex language you hear about monetary policy and ensuring financial stability. And the direction? Value flows up to the member banks. It's the same 5-part playbook, just in a modern suit. But there's a counterforce to this pattern of control. It's an instinct that runs just as deep in human history, this powerful drive to preserve the truth no matter what. You can think of it as an append-only instinct. When an official order comes down to burn the books or delete the files, someone, somewhere, always seems to hide a copy. It's like the truth just resists being deleted. And this timeline just shows how persistent that instinct is. I mean, from ancient scribes hiding scrolls in desert caves, to a Vatican clerk just happening to misfile a document that would have completely rewritten the history of the Templars. Fast forward to a CIA records keeper who accidentally saved thousands of pages of evidence on the MKUltra program, all the way to a modern whistleblower like Edward Snowden. The impulse is exactly the same. The record must be preserved. The source sums this up perfectly. It really captures the essence of this historical tug-of-war. For every action of suppression, there is this equal and opposite reaction of preservation. It's this idea that truth is append-only. You can always add to it, but you can never truly erase what came before. So, if this 5-part architecture is so powerful and it's so persistent, what do we do with it? Well, this leads to what is maybe the source's most crucial insight of all. See, here's the twist. The ledger, the network, the gate, the story, these are all just tools. They're neutral. They can be used for literally any purpose. The only part that defines the system's character, its very nature, is that final piece. Which way does the value flow? And that leaves us with two fundamental models. For most of those 5,000 years, the dominant model has been upward extraction. Value is pulled from the many at the bottom of the pyramid to enrich the few at the very top. But that same exact architecture can be flipped to create an outward flow, where the system is designed to reward its contributors to flow back to the people who actually create the value. And that brings us to the final and maybe most important question of all. If the tools themselves are neutral, if the same blueprint can be used to build a prison or a public park, then the responsibility for its direction, well, it falls to us, doesn't it? The choice isn't about destroying the architecture, but about deciding, together, which way we want the value to flow.